Leslie, just by way of anecdote, I thought we could start things off by saying I had a client email me a couple weeks ago or a month and a half ago by the time you're listening to this, and they were like, my wife read an article about how 2025 is not the time to visit Walt Disney World. And I, of course, being an intrepid journalist, I put that in air quotes, was like, where'd you get this article? Leslie, it is from a clickbaity site. So where would you guess that article was from?
Insider? I don't know.
Close.
Good guess.
Inside the Magic.
Oh, okay. Disney clickbaity. Yes.
Oh,
Okay, there
yes.
you go.
Disney clickbaity. Yes. Disney clickbaity. So it wasn't Inside the Magic article. And that was the premise. I read through it. So we'll talk a little bit about my answer to whether 2025 is the year to go. Clickbait aside, Inside the Magic, Catching Strays aside, it is a fair question, I think, to ask for 2025 because, Leslie, unlike most years, usually we talk about like what's coming this year. So like last year in 2024, we had a list of what's coming. You want to base your calendar around that. Well, we're going to kick off this episode with a laundry list of stuff that is going to be closed in 2025. So let's start off with this list, Leslie, and then we can get to talking about whether, maybe you do want to take a year off or skip 2025 if this is your one trip. But we'll get to that. Let's start with the closures.
Yeah, so this list is long, so bear with me. We'll break it up. Big Thunder Mountain Railroad closing right after the new year, January 6th, and then it's closing for all of 2025 into 2026. So big closure there. Astro Orbiter is closing the whole first half of 2025. It's January 13th through the summer of 2025. Tom Sawyer Island and the Liberty Square Riverboat is closing at some point in 2025. We don't know when exactly, but its days are numbered. Joe, you want to pick it up with the secondary list of closures?
Yeah. I think the secondary list is stuff that we're pretty sure is going to close sometime in 2025, mostly, but hasn't been announced yet. They've announced the Rock and Roller Coaster retheme to the Muppets. So I think that's going to close sometime this year. They've announced they're going to break ground on Monsters Inc. Land. Muppet Vision 3D, RIP, is going to have to be closed because of that. So Muppets Courtyard will close. We think both of those will happen sometime in 2025. Hopefully not until late 2025. They've already said that the Zootopia thing, replacing Tough to Be a Bug at Animal Kingdom, is going to open late 2025. They haven't announced when Tough to Be a Bug is going to close yet, but it can't, like, they can't do Zootopia without that closing. So that's going to close sometime. Triceratops Spin and the Dinorama area already closed January 13th, 2025. That's to start making way for breaking ground in Tropical Americas. And then there's a couple of regular refurbishments. Cali River Rabbits, that's always closed down in the winter, so that'll be closed in January and February ish. And then Grand Fiesta Tour closing from January 6th to March 15th. So a ton of closures. And to just throw one more on the list, we don't normally talk about hotel pool closures, Leslie, but there is a big one. They gave us 2 years lead time for it, but Stormalong Bay is going to be closed January through June. So basically the whole first half of 2025, that will affect beach and yacht club guests. Yes, they say you'll be allowed to use the pool at the boardwalk, but you're really going to walk all the way across the boardwalk to go use the pool there. The quiet pools will still be open at beach and yacht club, but that feature pool, the feature pool, some say, of Walt Disney World, Stormalong Bay, is going to be closed. Now, why are all these things closing, Leslie? It is because, as we've discussed in previous episodes, there's a lot of things that are going to be opening. Now, most of them are not opening in 2025, but let's go through some of the things that we're looking forward to. And yeah, when you're thinking about whether to come in 2025, maybe it's like, maybe I'm waiting until some of these bigger things open. But what are some of the things that are going to be coming both this year and beyond?
Okay, so generally speaking, we've already alluded to we're getting a Villain's Land and a Cars Land in Magic Kingdom, but that is kind of longer horizon, I would say. We don't have dates yet, and we don't know which of those is coming first, although my money's on Cars. I don't know about you. Yeah, about you, Joe. We'll see. And then, of course, the big thing that we're getting in Animal Kingdom is Tropical Americas. Not a lot going on in Epcot. Hollywood Studios, of course, we're getting this Muppets Courtyard closure, which is going to give us the Monsters Inc. land, and then the retheme of Rock and Roller Coaster. So that's sort of the big the big timeline, but then we're getting a lot of littler things, I think, that are more concrete and sooner. Like, we know there's going to be a Pirates of the Caribbean tavern opening late 2025. We know there's going to be a Spaceship Earth lounge opening in spring 2025. We know we're getting a new Little Mermaid show summer 2025. We know we're getting Test Track back summer 2025. So what are some other things that we know are coming more sooner rather than later?
Yeah, like I mentioned, they say, I believe it when I see it kind of thing, but they say the Zootopia attraction that's going to be in the Tree of Life where Tough to Be a Bug is currently is going to be late 2025. I mean, how fast can they turn that over? Like, it's December right now. I think if late 2025 is November, December at the earliest. And then finally, the big thing is there's going to be a nighttime parade opening in summer of 2025. It's called Disney Starlight Dream the Night Away. So they love their colons at the Walt Disney World Company. I mean, at the Walt Disney Company, excuse me, not the Walt Disney World Company. Don't come after me, Disney lawyers. And so that is exciting, but these are all like little things. The lounges, they don't move the needle for you and me. I mean, we love Spaceship Earth, and we'll probably check out the Spaceship Earth lounge, and maybe they'll surprise us. But if we're thinking about like our families, they're not like, actually, I take it back. Maybe the Pirates lounge will be cool, but these are just kind of food offerings. They're not attractions. We're a ride facing podcast, and so this is not moving the needle as much for us. So it's like we're losing a lot. They're giving us a few small things in 2025, but the big things are in the horizon, 2026, 2027, and beyond. So with all these things being said, what do you think? Like, visit in 2025 versus waiting? I will start with one argument for visiting in 2025. We've already seen discounts for spring all the way up through June. I think that we're just going to keep seeing discounts. For those of you who visited in 2024, hopefully you booked a bounce back discount. The bounce back discounts have been really good for 2025. I do think because all these things are closing, demand will be muted because of that, and that could make it a more affordable, in gigantic air quotes, but affordable for Disney vacations in 2025. So that's one thing I'd put in the pro column. But what do you think between visiting in 2025 or waiting, or where do you fall on that?
I mean, this often depends on what kind of vacationer you are, particularly if you're only going to take one Disney trip in your lifetime, then yeah, maybe you don't want to go when so many things are closed. Maybe you want to wait for the bright and shiny new thing to be unveiled. But if you go every couple of years, I would say this is actually going to be a great year to go, because so much, like you say, we're going to get discounts. I do think we're going to get discounts. I think we're going to also have some periods of substantially lower crowds. Demand has been soft. I think it's going to continue to be soft a lot of the year, and especially with so much focus on Universal and Epic Universe opening. And that's what, May 22nd, 2025. Disney is going to lose a little bit of its groove. And that is to the benefit, I think, of the Disney traveler. So I'm bullish. I'm bullish on 2025.
Yeah, I think the other thing I would say is you have to kind of know your family. It is going to be a marginally diminished experience. I mean, for sure, like not having Big Thunder, not having, well, Dino Land, it's fine. You'll be fine without Dino Land being there. But, there are big things that are going to be closed. That being said, sometimes I would make the argument, and this is where you have to really know your family. Even if it's your once in a lifetime trip, maybe budget is more important, and then those discounts will end up helping out. Because I promise you, once these things open, we're going to see less discounts. Even if we see discounts, they'll be a little bit tamer or like smaller. And so you're not going to get as much of a discount. And so you have to factor that in. Also, remember, if you don't go all the time, or if you're going once in your life or twice in your life, you kind of don't know what you're missing. And, obviously we say that from a place of incredible Disney privilege, right? Because we go all the time, but you don't know like what you're missing with Big Thunder when you're just going for that one time. And so in that sense, especially your kids, they're not going to be like, oh man, Big Thunder Mountain is closed. I heard that's like the best. I think you can bear that in mind as well and factor that into your decision making. And then especially if you plan to go back again in like 4 to 5 years, like some people will take a trip with their kids when they're young, and then take another trip 5-6 years later when they're older. Well, if that's the case, then now's a great time to go. Yeah, maybe you'll see some scaffolding, but we all survived the Epcot scaffolding, and it was annoying. But Epcot, we still enjoyed Epcot even with all the scaffolding and myself getting lost amongst all the scrims all the time. I would physically get lost in Epcot and have to backtrack a few times. But in the end, it is still Walt Disney World. There's still going to be a ton to do. Even if you have a week-long trip, you're not going to run out of stuff to do, even though we listed 8-9 things are closed, but that kind of ignores that there's another 50-60 things open.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, if you haven't ever been, it's all new to you. The old stuff and the new stuff. So maybe you are not in a position that you're going to be super gaga over the newest stuff. I mean, of course the technology maybe is a little bit better, but there's plenty of great things, fairly new things. Tron technology, things like that. The shaman when it works in Navi River Journey. There's lots of great new and bright and shiny things that are there for those kind of guests.
It's a tough decision. We understand. Quick reminder that Disney nefarious. It's only a $200 deposit, fully refundable until 30 days before your trip. So like if you're not sure, you can always make a deposit, and then if they announce that they're gonna close things later, just move your trip. You can just keep moving that deposit forward into the future ad infinitum, really. So that is always an option for you.